Okay, it's afternoon now. Good afternoon. I'm Josh McKoon. I want to be your next state party chairman. I want to thank the GRA for hosting this convention. I also want to thank the American Legion. Both of my grandfathers fought in World War II, one in the Pacific and one in Europe, but one was a huge Legion member. He wore his Legion cap everywhere. It makes me a little emotional walking into a Legion Hall even all these years after he's been gone. But I want to tell you why I'm running for this. You know, both of my grandfathers fought because they believed in this country. They believed it was something special. You know, most of us that are here today are here because we have ancestors who left debtors' prisons. They left religious persecution. They left societies that were not free because they wanted to come somewhere where they could live their own lives. They could live their faith the way they wanted to. There's nowhere else to go to if we lose America. And we don't have two responsible political parties in this country anymore. We have broken so many institutional precedents in this country just in the last couple of months. A former president of the United States, Donald Trump, being indicted by Alvin Bragg in New York City, not because he committed a crime, but because Alvin Bragg's trying to fulfill a campaign promise of putting a political enemy in prison. That's wrong. That's un-American. And it's happening right here in Georgia. Fani Willis is trying to put 16 of our friends and our neighbors in prison, wants to deprive them of their liberty because they cast contingent electoral votes. You know, I was kind of happy after I left the Senate. You heard earlier about it's not too fun standing alone in the legislature. But I couldn't stand still seeing what's happening to our country. That's why I'm seeking this volunteer opportunity so that we can win the election next November, because the success of our nation depends on evicting Joe Biden from the White House. And we do that by coming together. You know, who knows who John Fetterman is? Anybody? Democrats are good at sticking together. They put a stroke victim in the United States Senate by sticking together. I'm not saying we should nominate a stroke victim for the United States Senate, but we could do a better job of coming together. Once we fight it out in the primary, once it's our time, whoever the Republican nominee is for president, we've got to put that person in the White House. So how are we going to do that? We're going to do that by, number one, coming together. Number two, by raising the money we need to be successful. You know, this is the first time in a long time the new chairman's probably going to walk in the door with over $1 million in the bank. And that's a good thing, but it's going to take a lot of financial resources to be successful. I've raised over $1 million in my races for public office and other causes, conservative candidates and causes that I've supported. I'll be ready on day one with a team for finance so that we can raise the money we need to be successful. I'm also going to make sure that we push out world-class training that you don't have to drive to Atlanta to attend, that's available all day on a Saturday for chairmen, county chairs, precinct chairs, and volunteers. We got to give our people the tools they need to rally the grassroots army it's going to take to win next November. And yes, we need to stand up America's best election integrity unit. Period. End of story. We've got to get people off the sidelines that don't believe their vote matters anymore. We've got to show them that the Georgia Republican Party is absolutely committed to doing everything we can to have a fair election in 2024. That's why I stood with members of the Georgia State Senate against the legislation that was going to mandate QR codes in our voting machines in the last year I was in the legislature. Unfortunately, that bill didn't pass, and the one that passed the next year got us what we've got today. But we can do better. We need to follow the election integrity report the Georgia Republican Party's put out. Fourth and finally, we can do better in communicating. We're in the 21st century. Podcasts, broadcast videos. You heard earlier today, the AJC is not going to tell our story, right? So we've got to tell our story. We've got the right ideas. When people understand what those ideas are, we win. And so that's what the Georgia Republican Party must do. I want this volunteer opportunity. I feel called to this work. I think we are all here for such a time as this. And next year, next November, if we do the things I'm talking about, we come together, we raise the money, we improve our communication, and we roll out training and election integrity unit, we will celebrate winning in November of 2024 up and down the ballot and putting the adults back in charge of this country. I'm Josh McKoon. I want to be your chairman. Thank you.